Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Cover Zero podcast, the show where I cover the least in the best way possible. I'm your host, Jason Wells. Today is Friday, December 20th. Christmas is almost here. We got a good slate of games for this weekend, and I'm here to preview all of it. And starting off with, we got that Thursday game. It's a whatever game, doesn't really matter. Chargers, Broncos. But Saturday, we get two, honestly, pretty damn good NFL games. I'm slowly pulling up the schedule here. We got Texans and Chiefs in the afternoon, and then Steelers and Ravens in the later afternoon. But we're also mixing in some college football in there. Saturday is an absolutely great day of football to watch. We got SMU, Penn State, Clemson, Texas, and then Tennessee, Ohio State to round off the night. It's a good week of football. It's going to be a good episode. Playoffs are shaping up. The AFC is basically all but wrapped up at this point. NFC still got some teams lingering out there, but I'm gonna preview this upcoming week. NFL Weekly Update, go over some injuries, some latest NFL news, and then what I started doing last week, the one random player in NFL history, and this time it's going to be Klois Box. If you haven't heard of Klois Box, I don't know why you would have, but stay tuned to find out who Klois Box is at the end of the episode. But let's just get right into it here. NFL Weekly Update, as usual. Starting off with the injuries, Max Crosby out for the year with an ankle injury, getting surgery on it. He missed last week, but it was kind of like a later thing that he was done. So I'm saying it now. Max Crosby done for the rest of the season. The Raiders' best player. We'll see. We'll see what they can do. They're favored. The Raiders are favored, and I'll talk about that game when I do talk about that game. Trayvon Diggs' knee injury out for the foreseeable future. It looks like an 8-month timetable for his recovery. Wishing him the best. Aleem McNeil, ACL injury. We talked about those Lions injuries on Wednesday's show. This is a big one. This is a very big injury for them. He's probably, after Aiden Hutchinson, he's probably their second or third best defensive player. So that absolutely sucks. David Montgomery has a torn MCL, but apparently he still might try to play in the playoffs. They got some second opinions. I don't know what doctor is like, oh, yeah, your shredded knee, you'll be fine to play in an NFL game. I don't know why he just wouldn't get the surgery and just be like, come back better next year. I get the Super Bowl run and wanting to play for your guys, but seems just a little insane to me. I don't know. Nick Chubb has his broken foot. Again, talked about it on Wednesday. Absolutely sucks for Nick Chubb to end his season this way, but hopefully full off-season of recovery, he comes back and he looks like that Nick Chubb that we all love to watch run the football. Alvin Kamara might end up on IR with a groin injury. He got hurt in last game. I think he was banged up going into the last game and just aggravated that injury. It's not looking good for Kamara, but again, Saints aren't really playing for anything at this point, so might as well shut him down, not make an injury worse than it already is. Christian Barmore is unfortunately back on the non-football injury list. If you don't remember, Barmore missed 10 games earlier this season due to a blood clot issue, and it seems like he's had some of those symptoms come back, so he's shutting it down for the rest of the year. I hope this doesn't become a reoccurring thing with him, because he's a damn good defensive tackle, and he is one of the Patriots. I mean, the Patriots don't have a lot of good players, but again, on defense, it's him. It's Gonzo. That's about it, but sucks for Barmore. And then finally, Isaac Guerendo missing the game for the Niners. No CMC, no Jordan Mason, no Elijah Mitchell, no Isaac Guerendo. So now it's Patrick Taylor, I think. Sure. But those are the injury updates. Let's get into some news here. Budda Baker signs a 3-year, $54 million deal, 30 of that guaranteed. He becomes the third highest paid safety in the league. Buda Baker is awesome. And I feel like whenever I talk about the Cardinals defense, I constantly overlook Buda Baker is on this defense, and he is very good. But he's the only really good defensive player that they have. But the defense is playing well, and I believe in Jonathan Gannon, and Buda Baker is a big reason, a part of that. Happy that he gets to stay in Arizona. I think that they're building something. They got to figure out more things on offense, but I think that Jonathan Gannon is a very good defensive coach, and if he gets some more guys on that unit, I think it could shape up into be a very good unit. And their offense has been playing well. That run game has been good. The passing attack still needs a little more something to it, but great deal for Buda. Definitely deserves to be in that top end safety money. Travis Hunter wins the Heisman, and it was the smallest margin since 2009. If you don't remember that 2009, I don't either. I had to look it up. It was Mark Ingram, Toby Gerhart, Jacksonville legend, and then Colt McCoy, just journeyman, backup, basically. Really good college player, though. Smallest gap since then, obviously, it was between Hunter and Ashton Jeanty. Both guys deserved it. Again, if you're shitting on Travis Hunter, you're an idiot. I don't think there's any other way. Oh, who makes snaps a stat? Shut up. The guy was a top 5 wide receiver in college, was a top 5 corner in college. Seems to me like that would make him the Heisman favorite, and he did. Interested to see how his draft process goes and how much he wants to play, if he is going to demand to play both sides of the ball, or if it's just going to be packages on offense, or if he wants to play wide receiver more because wide receivers get paid more in the league. It'll be interesting. It'll be very interesting to see how that process for Hunter shapes up. Next up here, Deontay Johnson, cut from the Ravens after trading for him at the deadline. Again, Steelers wide receivers need to be studied. Someone needs to make a video explaining how Mike Tomlin deals with all those personalities. Again, we can go over Antonio Brown, Martavis Bryant, Chase Claypool. I'm going to throw Juju in, but Juju was a different he was a TikTok star. That was the Deontay Johnson. Now he's dealing with George Pickens. Shout out to Mike Tomlin, but Deontay Johnson, again, he tanked any value that he had going into next year. Any goodwill that he built up is now gone. I have no idea what his NFL future looks like, but the fact that he didn't want to play or was unhappy with his role on a Super Bowl contending Ravens team kind of just shows you the type of guy that he is. I don't know. Never met the guy, but it's a very bad look. It's a very, very bad look. Another veteran receiver who was cut, OBJ, was a mutually parting of ways. Sure. He, again, missed basically all offseason, the entire training camp, was on IR to start the year. Even when he played, it sucks that injuries, like OBJ, the start to his career was one of the best wide receivers in the league, and then he decides he's done with New York and he'll go to Cleveland, and careers usually go to die in Cleveland, and that's just kind of what happened. I mean, fuck, I won't even say that, though, because when he played with the Rams in his playoff run that he had with him in that first half of the Super Bowl before he tore his knee again, it was great. He looked like it was the same OBJ. He's finally back, and then he gets another knee injury, and then that's just kind of that. I'll be interested to see if someone signs him for some kind of depth playoff push, whatever. I don't know, but OBJ gone from the Dolphins. Clyde Edwards-Helaire was cut from the Chiefs, and then he got picked up by the Saints. Obviously, the Chiefs, he has just been not needed. It's been Isaiah Pacheco. It's been Kareem Hunt, who is suddenly like a decent player again. They traded for Samaje Perine. Those are their three. Clyde ends up with the Saints now, back in Louisiana, back in, I guess LSU isn't in New Orleans, but again, back in Louisiana. I said in the injuries, Kamara might be done, so there might be looking like Keandre Miller, Jamal Williams, Clyde Edwards-Helaire backfield. Doesn't sound great, But I'm interested to see what Keandre Miller does. I'll talk about that more when I talk about that Saints game. But yeah, Clyde Edwards-Helaire back in Louisiana. I think we can leave it at that. Obviously, there's probably some better running backs that the Chiefs could have taken at that late first round pick, but I won't get into that. Randy Moss, the Hall of Fame wide receiver, he posted something a few weeks ago about like he needed to take some time away, and it turns out he has pancreatic cancer. Obviously terrible, but I was trying to find out like because some news outlets, and I say news outlets, some big Twitter accounts tweeted out that he has beaten cancer, and I think that that's the case. I think that's what it sounded like anyways, that like as of right now he's cancer free. Again, it's a long process to be like officially cancer free, and it's gone. Like it can be a few months, a year from now, and it could still come back. That's just how cancer works. Obviously awful. Wishing nothing but the best for Randy Moss. We can keep going. Teddy Bridgewater wants to come back to the NFL, and I am all for that. He saw the landscape of the QB market right now and how many QB needy teams there are, and just how much backups are really getting paid. And I would love for Teddy Bridgewater to be my backup. He was my backup at some point. Just all around good guy. Happy for Teddy. And it's funny because he just dominated Florida high school football coaching. I talked about it a couple weeks ago where I forget what their like win margin was, but I think with that finals included, it ended up being like 260 to 20 something. Like that was their like total points against in the entire playoffs. Like he dominated, and he was like, well, that was fun, I guess. And I still think he probably could get a college job, but he's in his mid-30s right now where he's like, I might as well just go make a few more million, play in the NFL, and just basically being a coach and being a vet mentor and maybe getting some playing time if there's injuries. But I would love to see Teddy back in the league. I think eventually he will end up being a college coach. Maybe he just wants to dominate the high school coaching ranks. I don't know, but an NFL with Teddy Bridgewater back in the league is a good one. Charles Snowden, a Raiders player, gets a DUI. And it was a bad one. He got his SUV parked on top of like a 4-foot retaining wall. When the cops found him, he was incoherent, sleeping behind the wheel. When they would get his attention, he would be like, "Ugh," and then like fall back asleep. Absolutely brutal. Again, we know what like the Raiders with Henry Ruggs and how awful that situation was. And again, Vegas is tempting and whatever, but you make, again, he's not a millionaire. This guy's like just like kind of like a roster, like a depth piece. But you make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Just take an Uber, man. It's not that complicated. Like again, there's going to be a massive fine. He's probably going to get cut from the team. Take that $30 Uber back to your place, call it a night, continue your NFL career. Like it's such a bad look. It's such a bad look. I will never understand players again, because no, I'm not even going to get into it. It's when you're that drunk where you're falling asleep behind the wheel, call an Uber. It's really that simple. It truly is that simple. And finally here, we found out through some insider news that the Jets had a trade offer for Jerry Jeudy that was vetoed by Woody Johnson. And why did they veto that move? Woody Johnson got some advice from his sons that, we don't like his Madden rating. And he took that to heart. And he was like, Jerry Jeudy, not good on Madden. So we should not make this trade. It's crazy how much billionaires and owners get in the way of their own franchise. Like, the best owner is someone who just signs a check and you never hear from them again until you need them to sign another check. Owners meddling and putting their fingerprints on stuff is the worst kind of owner you can have. And basing your trades off Madden ratings is unbelievable. And it wasn't just Jerry Jeudy, the Jerry Jeudy trade. Guard John Simpson, who they signed in the offseason, Woody Johnson was worried about his low awareness rating and was like, I don't know if he'll be a good fit. John Simpson's a very good guard. He's very dependable, very solid. And Woody Johnson was like, oh, this bad video game says that he's not that great. First of all, using Madden as any sort of like NFL reference where it's like, oh, well, he's this rated in Madden. Madden is a bad video game. It's one of the worst sports video games out there right now. I mean, yeah, Madden is terrible, but like, what's worse? Woody Johnson in the Jets or Madden? I would say Woody Johnson in the Jets. Unbelievable story that there were two players that they didn't want because of Madden ratings. The Jets are a joke of an organization. They will continue to be a joke of an organization, especially with that man running it. Bad owners ruin teams. Yeah, bad owners ruin teams. We can just leave it at that. And we can get into the blind Thursday night football recap now. It is the Broncos and the Chargers. Big AFC West divisional matchup on Thursday night football. Broncos and Chargers. Ladies and gentlemen, we had ourselves a mid-off. Wasn't a very exciting game, but like, what do you expect? The Broncos defense is one of the best defenses in the NFL. They go against the Chargers, who, since J.K. Dobbins has been hurt, that offense has kind of just looked simple enough, I guess. Yeah, Broncos on the other side. Again, that defense is so good. Pat Surtain is the best corner in the NFL. Maybe Defensive Player of the Year, I don't know. And then other, bit of a longer shot for Defensive Player of the Year. Nick Bonito had another good game too. The Broncos offense, though, again, it's not very good. Bo Nix is playing fine football at the moment. Chargers were able to get some takeaways, but again, if the Chargers don't hold the opposing team to under 20 points, they're not going to win, and the Chargers just could not score enough points at the end of the day anyways. Not a very good game, but it is what it is. Broncos do end up winning this one 20-13, and that is the blind Thursday night football recap. Okay, let's get into the week. I don't even know what week we're on right now. Week 16? Yeah, the week 16 NFL preview here. Starting off with the Saturday games, the number 14 ranked Texans against the number 4 ranked Chiefs. Chiefs minus 3.5, total set of 41.5. There was some concerns that Pat Mahomes might not play, and that ankle injury, it looked bad, and he's fine. As he usually is with these injuries, he ends up being perfectly okay. He was a full participant in practice all week. Low ankle sprain is what it is. He'll get taped up, he'll play, but yeah. A lot of dumb people upset that, he fakes injuries just to look. It's like, he's playing bad and he can blame it on the injury. Whatever, shut up. I would have liked to see Carson Wentz play. I just think it would have been fun to see Carson Wentz play football because, I don't know. I really liked Carson Wentz at one point, and then he slowly declined. Not slowly. It was pretty harsh and fast, but yeah, this game, I guess let's just talk about it. The Chiefs are going to win because that's what they do. The Chiefs just win football games. I think the Chiefs are going to win just because that's what the Chiefs have been doing literally the entire season, is just win close football games, and I think that this will end up being a close football game won by the Chiefs, but their offensive line has not been pretty, and when I say their offensive line, I mean that left tackle spot. DJ Humphries got hurt last game or 2 games ago, and I actually don't know if he's been playing, but the pass rush from the Texans is unbelievable. Danielle Hunter, Will Anderson, the best duo in the league by far, in my opinion, and they should be able to get some pressure on Mahomes. Again, Mahomes is going to be a little less mobile than he usually is with that ankle injury. You would think anyways, but yeah, DJ Humphries misses another practice, so I think that he is probably doubtful to play, and that means Wanya Morris goes back in there, and Wanya Morris is a turnstile. So there is a chance that this Texans defense and this pass rush really gets home at Mahomes, where Derek Stingley, again, one of the best corners in the league, does his thing. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. The Texans or the Chiefs haven't been really putting up points all year, and the total reflects that, 41.5. Like, if you would have told someone the Texans-Chiefs total at the start of the year was going to be 41.5, they'd be like, oh, smash that over. Oh, the Texans' offense is so good. Oh, the Chiefs' offense is the Chiefs' offense. And both of these offenses have looked very mediocre throughout the entire season, so I expect the Chiefs to win, but the only reason I expect the Chiefs to win is because they're the Chiefs and they're 13-1. I think it's as simple as that. The other Saturday game here, the number 10 ranked Steelers against the number 6 ranked Ravens. Ravens minus 6.5, total set of 45.5. This is a big spread, but I understand the spread. TJ Watt banged up, looking like he is going to play. George Pickens out again. This Steelers offense is not good. Russ gave them some life, but without George Pickens, Pat Freiermuth is their best option. And I like Pat Freiermuth, but he's just like a good, solid tight end, above average tight end. Other than that, they got no one to work with. Najee Harris, Jalen Warren, that run game is not great. And yeah, like Russ, again, for as much as he made this Steelers offense look like an NFL offense again, the bar wasn't very high. Like, those Kenny Pickett years were absolutely terrible. So, yeah, Russ is running the best Steelers offense that they've had before Big Ben became a walking corpse, essentially, but it's still not good. And no George Pickens, I don't give them an absolute chance. I think with the Ravens win in this one, the division, I think they become the leader of the division. I think that sounds right. So they're playing for something. And they're playing for me personally because I made a bet in like week 5 to bet the Bucks and Ravens to win that division, and I would love to win that bet. So cheering for the Ravens. And again, the Steelers defense is good, but I expect the Ravens to put their best foot forward. They played terrible against them the last time they played, and they didn't even really play that bad. Well, they did play bad. They lost the game, but it was Chris Boswell kicking a bunch of field goals to win that game. I don't expect the Steelers to win a third game this season kicking all field goals, but crazier things have happened. We can move on. The Sunday games here, the 27 ranked Browns against the number 15 ranked Bengals. Bengals minus 7.5, total set of 46.5. Jameis Winston benched. In comes Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Sure, he's not good. I can understand it from the Browns. It's like, whatever. Browns management, they want to lose. They want to get as high of a pick as they can. And Jameis Winston can win you a game. Will he do some boneheaded stuff like he always does? Yeah, of course. DTR is just flat out not good. Again, when you compare like interception like numbers, DTR is worse at everything than Jameis right now. But the way that they convince people that this is the right thing is, oh, he's the younger quarterback. We drafted him a couple years ago. Like, let's just give him a shot. Why not? It's not going to be good. Luckily for DTR, they're going against the Bengals, who that defense is absolutely terrible. But on the flip side of it, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Chase Brown, they've looked very good. It'll be interesting to see what happens. But again, I don't give a DTR-led offense with Jerome Ford being the starting running back in the backfield a lot of chances in this one. I might take the Browns. What did I say? Plus 7.5. I might take them plus 7.5 because I like the Browns defense. I mean, I like Denzel Ward. I like Myles Garrett, but like maybe plus 7.5. Maybe. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying maybe. I'm not going with it. I'm not picking the Browns to win, but maybe plus 7.5. We can move on. The 32 ranked Giants. Yes, the Raiders have been dethroned as the worst team in the league. Versus the 26th ranked Falcons. Falcons minus 9. Total set at 42.5. Kirk Cousins has been benched after Wednesday's episode where I was like, I can excuse a 3-game skid from Kirk, but a bad fourth game against a Max Crosby-less Raiders, I'm done, and so are the Falcons apparently. And yeah, Michael Penix is in, and Michael Penix, we will find out very quickly if he is the guy. The Falcons' schedule for the rest of the season, pretty easy. They got some easy teams, and it starts with the Giants. And honestly, Michael Penix is going into the best situation that a rookie quarterback has, at least for this year. He's throwing to guys like Drake London. Darnell Mooney's had a good season. I guess Kyle Pitts is still there, but he's an afterthought at this point. The offensive line is good. The run game is very good. Bijan Robinson is awesome. Like, he has the guys, and they're playing a bad team. We will find out if Michael Penix has the stuff throughout these last 3 games, or if the Falcons paid... How much money did they give Kirk? Either way, they gave Kirk way too much money, and maybe they drafted Penix also way too early, which I wasn't a big fan of Penix in the draft anyways. I thought drafting him in the top 10 was absolutely crazy. But at least for right now, they seem a little vindicated because they have their QB of the future, supposedly. But again, it was weird mismanagement, but at least the Falcons protected themselves enough if Kirk did stink, because he did stink. And now they have Michael Penix, who, again, he's got all the guys around him for him to come in and be a good quarterback immediately. We will see. But yeah, let's talk about Kirk and maybe some potential landing spots for him. I saw someone say that, the 2025 Indianapolis Colts starting quarterback, Kirk Cousins. And that's just a funny one for me because that would be like the next retread quarterback that the Colts have done since they lost Andrew Luck. It was Jacoby Brissett, it was Phillip Rivers, it was Matt Ryan, and now they finally draft Anthony Richardson, and they benched him for Joe Flacco, and now it's Anthony Richardson again. I think that they're smart enough to be like, we have to see what Anthony Richardson might develop into. Leave it at that. I brought up that maybe the Titans do it. They're in a spot right now in the draft where they're not going to be able to draft one of these top 2 guys. I don't think anyone is even worth drafting in the first round past that. Will Levis will probably still be on the roster just because he's on a cheap rookie contract, and he's shown some stuff. And trading for Kirk, he'd be a $27.5 million cap hit, which isn't terrible, but I think the Titans just want to build a quality roster, and trading for Kirk, you'd have to probably give up a late day 3 pick to do it, so doesn't sound terrible. So maybe the Titans. And the one that honestly seems more likely is he just stays in Atlanta. He has a no trade clause. He can veto any move that he wants. He's already, again, he moved his family from Minnesota all the way to Atlanta. I don't think he's going to want to move them again. And realistically, you're going to get paid the same either way. If he just wants to be the backup and he's okay with being the backup, then maybe. Again, it all depends on what Kirk wants to do and how he views his future. But one more year in Atlanta wouldn't be terrible for him, I guess. We will see, though. Nashville isn't that far of a drive away. But those are just kind of the teams that I think that might make a move for him. I think that someone else, because I tweeted that, I think that the Titans should get him, and I want to find... someone had a decent reply to me, and I want to actually see what he said. Oh, yeah, no. He was just saying that he thinks the Titans go in on Sam Darnold. So we will move on, and... yeah, because I don't even need to talk about the Giants. This is a Falcons-Giants preview. This isn't just like, we're talking about Michael Penix and Kirk Cousins. This is the game preview. The Giants suck. The Giants are very bad. Tommy DeVito, I guess, is starting. I have no idea. It might be Tim Boyle, which, that's terrible. But, yeah, the Falcons are going to win. We can move on. Next game up here, the number 3 ranked Lions against the number 25 ranked Bears. Lions minus 6.5, total set at 47.5. If there was any game for the Bears offense to show some life, this would be it. The Lions are playing their second and third string guys on that defense right now. And the Bears, they have guys anyways. They're not, again, the coaching is not what it should be. And I'm not blaming interim head coach Thomas Brown because he went from running backs coach to offensive coordinator to head coach. That is way too many. That's way too many promotions in a 3-month span. Something he didn't expect to do. Where I think if Thomas Brown was just sitting in the booth running the offense would still look pretty good anyways, but I think he has way too much on his plate right now, and that's where kind of things have fallen off for them. The defense has fallen off because as much as Matt Eberflus sucks as a head coach, he's a good defensive coach. But he's gone now. I have no idea who's running the defense for them, but everything is just a mess for the Bears. And the Lions are still going to win. The Lions are still absolutely going to win. Their offense, and I'm sure that all the Lions players and all the coaches are harping on this one point where everyone is counting us out now. These injuries, they've taken a toll, but we're not out of this. We are next man up. We all believe in everyone. Rah, rah, all that stuff. And I do still believe in the Lions. I said it. Their offense is still good enough to go toe-to-toe with anyone in the league, but that defense is scary. Again, so the Bears should have a fairly decent performance. Coaching, we'll see. It might hold them back a little bit, but Lions should still win this one with relative ease. I guess we will see, though. Next game up here, the 28 ranked Titans versus the number 21 ranked Colts. Colts minus 3.5, total set of 42.5. Mason Rudolph back in as the starter for the Titans. The Colts should win this one. Just talent-wise, the Colts should win this one. But I don't know. They're a weird team. Anthony Richardson obviously has his moments, has his really bad moments. His team lets him down sometimes. He lets his team down sometimes. And this game will probably end up being closer than it should be. But the Colts should win. They're just, on paper anyways, they are just such a much more talented team. I think I can just leave it at that. I have really no notes to really say. We're at that time of the year where this is a matchup that just flat out doesn't matter. The Titans don't want to win this game. At least fans don't want them to win this game because everything is so close right now in those top 10 picks. There are a lot of bad teams in the league right now where I think the Titans pick 8th or 6th or something like that, where a win would put them out of the top 10. So the Colts should win this one. Mason Rudolph, again, he's not a good quarterback. Colts should win. Yeah, Jonathan Taylor, don't drop the ball before you get into the end zone. I think that's a key point that they should be harping on in the team meetings this week. But really all depends on what version of Anthony Richardson we get. As simple as that. Next game up here, the number 19 ranked Cardinals against the number 24 ranked Panthers. Cardinals minus 5, total set at 47.5. Vegas has learned that the Panthers should not be favorites, have adjusted accordingly. Bryce didn't have, again, for career starts that Bryce has made, even though he had 4 turnovers last week, still probably in his top half of better starts of his career. That's just how bad he started his career. I'm assuming he's going to get back on track in this one. Again, Cardinals defense, I talked about it when I was talking about Budda Baker. They play tough, they play hard, they're coached well, not talented. So I expect that this could be a game where Chuba Hubbard does a good game, Bryce Young is making his throws, making some plays. But the Cardinals are just a much better team right now anyways. And the Cardinals should win fairly easily, you would think, but just when I think the Cardinals are putting things together, they fall apart and they make things look way harder than it should be. Like, I would think that an offense of Kyler Murray, James Conner, Trey McBride, and Marvin Harrison Jr. would be enough. I would think it would be, but it's not always the case. However, I am betting Trey McBride to score a touchdown. I might even bet Trey McBride to score 2 fucking touchdowns. Kyler said it in one of his press conferences this week where it's like, they're trying to get Trey McBride a touchdown. So I will be betting Trey McBride anytime touchdown, probably 2 touchdowns on the year. I don't know what those odds are Because Vegas is also smart, because Vegas knows a lot of people are betting him to score a touchdown, and his odds haven't been like too juicy, like only like plus 180, 190 in that range. But bet Trey McBride to score a touchdown. Again, Panthers, another team that wants to lose. I think right now they're slated to pick fourth or fifth, which that's where you want to be right now. I said it when I ranked my prospects, but as of right now, I think there's only 6 blue chip guys where if you're the Panthers, you want to stay in that range. And 2 quarterbacks will probably be taken with the first 2 picks with Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders. They're not part of my blue chip players. They're not part of my top 15. They're probably not a part of my top 20. So Panthers don't want to win this one. We can keep going. The number 2 ranked Eagles against the number 18 ranked Commanders. NFC East divisional matchup. Eagles minus 3.5. Total set of 45.5. I am hammering the Eagles. I will happily bet the Eagles minus 3.5. I don't buy into anything that the Commanders are doing. They almost choked away that game to the Saints last week. The Saints with, again, Cedric Wilson throwing a touchdown, and they got sacked 8 times by, again, a decent Saints front 7, but this Eagles team is just so much better. They're so much better, head to toe, top to bottom, whatever you want to say. The Eagles should kill them. They should easily kill them. Like, I'm expecting the Eagles to win by 10 points. Because I don't think the Commanders are very good. Dan Quinn has that defense playing hard, but is that defense really talented? Not really. Marshawn Lattimore did play in his first game last week. Obviously, didn't really matter because the Saints had no one to throw to anyways. So it'll be interesting to see how Dan Quinn tries to slow down this Eagles offense, because again, the Eagles should be able to hurt you in a million different ways. And that's not always the case with them. But I don't see this Commanders offense being able to score the ball. They make it very hard on themselves to score the ball, even when they are in the red zone. So I'm on the Eagles. I think the Eagles are going to smoke them. Next game up here, the number 9 ranked Rams against the number 23 ranked Jets. Rams minus 3, total set at 46.5. The Rams are going to win. The Jets are just in such a bad mood about, just literally everything. And again, it comes down to ownership. It comes down to everything. But again, we start with ownership again, where another thing that got brought up is when Jeff Ulbrich won his first game as interim head coach. Usually, the game ball gets awarded to the head coach for getting his first win. It's a big, team morale booster, and everyone's like, yeah, way to go, coach. And in comes Woody Johnson and his 2 dipshit sons, who give the game ball out before anyone, just come into the room and be like, yeah, Garrett Wilson, game ball, because he had that really sick, incredible catch, which it was an incredible catch. But you don't do that. You don't just steal this team moment away just because you think you can. Again, I talked about it at the top of the show already. Jets ownership is just such ass. I'm definitely going to rank the owners at some point during the year, but or during the offseason probably, but the Jets might rank last. It's awful. It's so bad, but the Rams, division winners, or division leading right now, and this is a big game to keep them that 1 game ahead of the Seahawks. And they should be able to do it. The Jets' defense is just not good. Quinnen Williams is banged up, and he's trying to play through an injury. Breece Hall's trying to play through an injury. Shut down these guys, man. The season is done. Look at the bigger picture right now. Everyone's been fired. I don't know why people aren't, I don't know why the players aren't making a business decision right now. Because you don't want to be injured in the offseason. Quinnen Williams is fine. He's safe. He has his big contract. But a guy like Breece Hall, who has had his injury history in the past and is banged up right now, if he has another injury, new front office, new coach might come in and be like, okay, great season, Breece, but we're done with you. So I don't know. It's crazy, but Rams offense, I mean, after a disappointing last Thursday, I'm assuming that they will be able to spread the ball, run the ball as much as they want, just score at will against the Jets, where I don't think that the Jets are really. Rodgers has been playing good football lately. Devontae Adams is still a very good receiver. Garrett Wilson is obviously still awesome. Again, on paper, this Jets team looks good, but we have seen the Jets play football now for 15 weeks, and they've been terrible. So the Rams are going to win. Simple as that. Next game up here, the number 5 ranked Vikings against the number 13 ranked Seahawks. Vikings -3, total set at 42.5. This is going to be a really fun defensive matchup. We get Brian Flores against Mike McDonald. Brian Flores, again, that bad Seahawks offensive line. And Geno Smith, who I think he's going to play. It's trending towards like it's looking like he's going to play. But obviously, he's a little banged up. He's a little injured. And he's already not the most mobile guy. Yeah, can he run? Sure. But Brian Flores is just going to be sending that blitz. That offensive line will not be able to hold up the entire game. And realistically, the Seahawks offense has just not been good, despite all of the weapons that they do have across the board. I think Charbonnet is also hurt on top of Kenneth Walker being hurt. Yeah, the Vikings should win this one. But I'm interested to see Mike McDonald's defense go against this Vikings offense. The Vikings offense has looked great. Their offensive line is playing well. Aaron Jones has been running the ball well. Justin Jefferson's obviously Justin Jefferson. Addison's been playing great. Hawkinson's awesome. But they're playing against the Seahawks team who has been playing very good football over the last month of the season. And I'm just interested to see how that unit plays. I think the Vikings are going to win. But Seahawks at home, maybe. I am going to take the Vikings, though. Not with the points or anything, but I think the Vikings are going to win this one. But yeah, that Vikings offense versus the Seahawks defense, that is kind of one of the matchups that I do want to pay attention and look at this week. Next game up here, the number 1 ranked Bills against the 30th ranked Patriots. Bills -14, total set at 46.5. Surprisingly, -14, not the biggest spread of the week, I know. Do I really have to spend much time on this game? The Bills are going to win. The Bills are going to do whatever they want to this Patriots defense, and this was the case, or wasn't the case for... What am I trying to say? Either way, Gonzo doesn't have anyone that he can shadow and take away, and because the Bills use everyone. Ty Johnson was their leading receiver last week. I don't think that, Gonzo's going to shadow Ty. Like, the Pats and Gerard Mayo and, or whoever, it should be Gerard Mayo. But, yeah, the guy who calls the plays for the Patriots, they'll have to use Gonzo in a bunch of different ways instead of just, cover Amari Cooper. Because Amari Cooper didn't get a single target last week. Whether that'll be Shakir, Kincaid, but, again, move Gonzo around. He shouldn't just be shadowing one guy. I don't expect him to shadow one guy. But either way, the Bills are going to kill them. Drake May versus Josh Allen. That's a fun quarterback matchup. Right now, it's not really that fun because Drake May is by himself on that offense. But yeah, the Bills are going to win. I think it's as easy as that. Next game up here, the Toilet Bowl game, but also the game that has the most draft implications by far. The number 29 ranked Jaguars against the number 31 ranked Raiders. Raiders -1.5, total set of 40.5. The Raiders are favorites in a game. That's absolutely crazy to me. And obviously, this Jags team isn't good. But again, on paper, they at least got more guys that I can talk about. Like, if we're doing a dude off here, it's like, okay, Josh Hines Allen, Brock Bowers, Tyson Campbell, Jacoby Myers, Brian Thomas Jr., and then I'm done on the Raiders. I have no one else after those two guys. Obviously, Max Crosby not playing. Christian Wilkins still hurt. I don't know why the Raiders are favorites in this one. And I don't know who's starting at quarterback. I think Aiden O'Connell is probably looking towards being the starter, but I don't think that matters at all. I think Mac Jones is the better quarterback in this matchup between the two teams. Like, I'm expecting the Jags to win this one and win this one quite easily. But again, neither fan base wants their team to win. If the Raiders lose this one, they're going to be out. They're going to be out of the Shedeur Sanders sweepstakes, even though I don't think that Shedeur should be a top 5 pick, let alone maybe a first overall pick. But I digress there. This is going to be an insanely smelly matchup, but I don't know why the Jags aren't favorites. The Raiders are not good, and the Raiders just don't have anyone. Like, I love Brock Bowers. I think Jacoby Myers is a really good player, but other than that, where are these points coming from? Amir Abdullah, I guess. Sincere McCormick is also on IR. Thank you for that one week of fantasy football, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I think the Jags are going to win. I don't know why the Raiders. Again, I don't know why the Raiders are favorites. The Raiders should not be favorites. The Jags also suck. Don't like again. The Jags are terrible. They're coached terribly. Doug Peterson still somehow has a job. Don't know how, but yeah, I don't know. Next game up here, the number 16 ranked 49ers against the number 17 ranked Dolphins. Dolphins -1, total set of 44.5. Yeah, two teams that have just, I mean, we got that Niners offense who just kind of quit on themselves more than anything, I guess. Deebo Samuel's not good. I don't know what Patrick Taylor, their running back, is going to do. But again, they're going against our defense that is mighty soft, other than a few players up front. This is like, again, it's two teams having incredibly disappointing seasons facing off right now. And technically, the Dolphins still have an outside chance of making the playoffs if we win out. And I think if the Chargers lose to the Broncos and then lose to one of the Raiders and Patriots, I think that we might sneak in somehow. Again, I doubt that happens. I sincerely doubt that happens. Let me make myself clear. But we shouldn't win this game. And I'm not going to pick the Dolphins to win in this one. Usually I try to talk myself into it, and it's like, I can see it, but we can't run the ball. We can't really pass the ball either. Everything is a check down to Devon Achane, which is fine by me. I have him in fantasy, I guess. Get those PPR points. But the Niners' defense, anyways, is still relatively solid. They got some guys back. I think Dre Greenlaw should be playing again in this one. Like, I don't know. They have guys on that defense that it should be relatively easy to stop whatever we're going to do. Jalen Waddle's probably not playing for us either. I guess I'm interested to see what rookie Malik Washington does. Maybe let's get Jonnu Smith a little bit more involved, but I don't know. I think the Niners are going to win. Again, this is like a coin flip game. It's what bad team is going to win this one, or what talented but bad team is going to win this one is what I should be saying. And I think the Niners are going to come out on top just because why would I believe in the Dolphins? Yeah. Sunday night game here, the number 8 ranked Bucks against the 20th ranked Cowboys. Bucks -4, total set at 48.5. Bucks are going to roll. The Bucks are just the way better team. They're running the ball well. Mike Evans is... They're going to try to not force feed Mike Evans, but Mike Evans will get a bunch of targets because they are going to want him to hit that 1,000-yard mark for the 11th straight season. Yeah, no Trayvon Diggs for the Cowboys, obviously. I'm hoping Rico Dowdle has a bad game because I don't want to go to Sudbury. It's tough to run on Vita Vea. Simple as that. But either way, it's like, yeah, stop the run game, stop CeeDee Lamb. The Bucks offense is clicking. Baker Mayfield is playing the best football of his career right now. I think he has the most touchdowns of any season in his career right now, and there's still 3 games left to play. And shout out to Baker Mayfield. He's playing awesome. Where the Browns would be right now as a franchise if they had a guy like Baker Mayfield instead of giving that rapist all that guaranteed money. But here we are. Betting on Mike Evans this week, obviously, but other than that, the Bucks are just the better team. The Bucks are fighting for their playoff lives at this point, and now that the Falcons have started Michael Penix, that might give them a little bit more of a boost because the Bucks are 1 game ahead. But if the Falcons win out and the Bucks go 2-1, same record, Falcons have that tiebreaker. So, yeah, Bucks need to keep winning, and I am going to look very quickly at both teams' remaining schedules because I believe I'll start with the Falcons here, but the Falcons have the Giants, Commanders, and Panthers. Could definitely see a loss to the Commanders. Again, it all depends on how Michael Penix actually plays. Bucks on the other side, they have the Cowboys, Panthers, and Saints. So 3 very winnable games by both teams on either side. The Bucks are probably like a little bit tougher, but not really. So we will keep going. And finally, the Monday Night Football game, the number 22 ranked Saints going against the number 7 ranked Packers. Packers minus 14.5, total set at 42.5. The Packers are going to win. Spencer Rattler should be starting. Spencer Rattler throwing to... I don't even know who's starting. Like, MVS is their number 1 receiver right now, with running the ball, the backfield of Keandre Miller, Jamal Williams, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Not a lot of faith at all about what the Saints can do. Only thing I will say is bet maybe the Packers field goal kicker to miss a kick, because that's what Darren Rizzi does since he's been a head coach. Other teams miss kicks against them. He's coached in 5 games as the interim head coach. They've missed 7. Yeah, but Packers are just huge favorites for very, very good reasons. They're going to win this game very, very easily. I hope you don't hear Lucy snoring in the background, but you might. Either way, that's what that is. But yeah, that is the Week 16 preview. And to end the episode here, let's talk about a former, I won't even say NFL legend, but just former NFL player. Short career, but he had some extreme highs. And the one player in history this week that we will talk about is Cloyce Box. Born in 1924 in Hamilton, Texas. He went to West Texas A&M, which I don't think is a school anymore, on a basketball scholarship with his brother, get this, Boyce. That's right, Cloyce and Boyce Box. What imaginative parents that they have. But yeah, went to school on a basketball scholarship, was enlisted in World War II, where he got the rank of captain. After coming back from the war, he returned to West Texas A&M, but the basketball program stunk, so he's like, I'm going to go play football, where he ended up being quarterback and halfback. Got drafted in the 20th round in the 1948 draft by Washington. Never played for Washington, and I don't really know how the draft works at that point, especially when you're a 20th round pick. Ends up on the Lions, was a 1,000-yard wide receiver in 1950 on only 50 catches. Again, 1,000-yard receiving is like it's like not that like big of a bar. 1,000 yards in 1950 is absolutely crazy. In that season, he had a insane 2-week fantasy stretch where I talked about it on Wednesday's show, but over a 2-game span, Cloyce Box scored 101.5 fantasy points. He had 5 catches, 123 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And then the game that put him on my radar anyways, 12 catches, 302 yards, and 4 touchdowns, again, in 1950. And this is how I found out about Cloyce Box, was when Jerry Jeudy was going off and we were looking at, like, the most yards in a game receiving wise, and found out it was Cloyce Box, or not Cloyce Box, but again, you see Cloyce Box and you want to read more because a guy named Cloyce Box, who doesn't want to know more about that? Surprisingly, that 302 yards wasn't the record for most in a game. I think it was a guy named Jim Benton who had like 305 in 1945, so might have to talk about him at some point, but that's absolutely crazy. Missed the 1951 season because of the Korean War. When he came back to the Lions in 1952, they won 2 back-to-back NFL championships. Retired in 1954, 2 NFL championships, 2-time Pro Bowler, 1-time All-Pro. Post-football, he got into the cement business where he made his millions. Yeah, don't really have to talk about cement too much because it's really not that interesting, but he made a shit ton of money. We'll leave it at that. In 1982, 30 years after winning that championship with the Lions, he hosted a reunion, all the former players, and he bought everyone a championship ring because they were the last team to not get championship rings like given to them. I think after that, it was like a standard thing that everyone gets a championship ring. So he went out of his way to buy rings for all of his former teammates. Absolutely love that. But another big thing that he did in that same year, he established a trust to help former NFL players struggling financially. He donated $1 million of his own money. And again, $1 million in 1982, that's a shit ton of money. And yeah, finally, the last cool fact about Cloyce Box, his ranch was used for the original season of the TV show Dallas. If you don't know what Dallas is, very popular TV show through the 70s to the early 90s, went on for 14 seasons, but his ranch was there for the first season, and he didn't like how the show was portraying oil companies and stuff like that, so Dallas went somewhere else to film the rest of it, but that original season 1, that was on Cloyce Box's ranch. And yeah, passed away in 1993 at the age of 70. But that is the legend of Cloyce Box. Just a fun name to say. And his brother Boyce, can't forget about that. But yeah, that's the show. I like doing these random NFL players in history. I don't know who I'm going to talk about next week. I'll tease it on Wednesday, I guess. But that'll do it. If you have liked this, as always, please like, share, retweet, subscribe, tell your friends, and all that fun stuff. And until next time, peace.